Hey YouTube, this is Donnie Smith and I'm back with another Q&A video where I'm answering your questions that you have on my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be answering a question about stripping paint. If I should strip the paint, do you recommend stripping the paint? And if I do need to strip, down to the metal, what method do you recommend doing that? Well, I'm going to help answer these questions in this video. So John asks, have a quick question for you. What if the body has some dents or dings that need to be straightened out and or filled with body filler? Would you recommend stripping to metal completely? If so, what is your preferred method to strip to bare metal? Thanks for the videos, man. You have a lot of good info. And I thank you for asking the question. I thank all of you for watching the videos and leaving your comments and questions. And, I think it's great that, the DIY out there, kind of learning how to do this. You're asking questions, wanting to learn more about it. That's what excites me because I think this industry needs more people going into this career field. I know a lot of shops and body shops and dealerships out there that they really want they really need more technicians entering into this industry, and there's kind of a shortage of them. Shortage of people interested in this. And I think what the problem is, when I was growing up, I helped my dad. I think everybody did kind of did things with their dads. Well, they're just not as much of that exposure these days, and so they just don't know about this type of work. And you guys out here, whether you're doing this as a career or, messing with this in your garage, you are exposing this to other people, whether you know it or not. A friend of yours or, your son or daughter may be helping you, and, that may end up being something that they want to do as a career. So anyway, I appreciate all of you guys for watching and asking questions. Okay, so to answer the question, if there's some dings and dents, would I strip it to metal? And I'm assuming that you're talking about a car that has good paint, it's in good condition, but you're going to have to do a couple of dents anyway. Do I strip the complete car to metal? And I would say no. I really don't think you're going to benefit a lot from stripping the whole car to metal. And the reason I say that is because you got the factory coatings on that car from the factory. So you've got your E-coat, that's what's for corrosion protection. It's usually dipped in E-coat. And then you got your undercoatings and your base coats and your clear coats. And I really think that's going to provide the maximum corrosion protection for you. Now, we've got really awesome products these days, like the premium body fillers. They have zinc in them, which is going to provide corrosion protections. We've got the awesome epoxy primers in the self-etch. If you're using self-etch, we've got all these different products that we can use to provide the corrosion protection, but I would prefer to leave the factory E-coat on there if possible. Now, there are exceptions. Maybe there's a reason you need to strip this car complete. Maybe it's an old restoration job you're doing and there's some rust, or for whatever reason, maybe too many paint mills, you need to strip some down. But if that's not the case, I would not strip it down to metal. So to answer that question, if you got 4 or 5, however many spots that you're going to be doing some body work on, let's say you got those spots, and of course those areas where you're going to do body work, you're probably going to take down to metal because you're going to have to add body filler. You straighten the metal, add your body filler, prime and block, and I would just do those spots with that. And the rest of the car, if in good condition, I would just final sand with 500. Now, if you're thinking that you're going to apply the primer surfacer just to give yourself something to block, just to level, do that extra leveling, really, the clear coat on the car, that really provides a pretty good primer surfacer in the what I mean by that is, you can sand that and you can actually level that just like you would with a primer surfacer. So if you're wanting to block the whole car just to get it, level, you can go ahead and block that clear coat, to help you level that and make sure there are no imperfections. Now, if it's an older car, has rust spots here and there, and you're kind of doing like more of a restoration type job, I may say going to the metal may be a better option because, you're probably going to have to get to that metal. And some of those older cars, you don't know what's underneath it. You don't know, there's an inch of body filler or, what kind of coating. So a lot of times on the older restoration jobs, I would recommend going ahead and stripping those down to metal. And something like that, in restoration, probably some type of blasting is going to be your best option. For the older cars with thick metal, you can sandblast those. You got to be careful not to warp them, but you can use, you can sandblast them. But for a lot of the thinner metals, the medium blaster, which may cost a little bit more, but it's materials that's not going to heat the metal up and warp it like sand would. You may use that as an option to strip it to metal. But for what I do, I'm not really doing restoration. I'm just doing more of your average body shop type jobs out there. I really don't strip a lot to metal. If it needs it, a panel, a couple panels or whatever. I usually just use a DA with 80 grit. Let's say I have a hood, roof lid, deck lid, and a roof that needs to be stripped to metal. I just prefer to get some 80 grit, sand it down, with that 80. And, it seems like I can do that pretty fast. There are some people out there that do prefer chemicals. There are chemicals on there, chemical strippers that they make that you can put on there. That helps soften the paint up and get that off. And that's a lot of people like that method. Me, I just really never did like chemical strippers. Main reason is because it seems like it makes a really big mess, and then you got to neutralize the stripper, get all that off there, and then it seems like you usually have to end up DAing a lot of there's going to be some paint left behind, pieces here and there. So, in my opinion, and again, I don't have the only opinion. I know there's a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions, but I just assume to use 80 grit on a DA, to strip a couple panels down to metal. Now, if you're stripping the whole car down to metal, that's a lot of stripping. So that's a lot of paint removal. So probably you're going to be best looking at one of the options like media blasting. Might cost a little bit more or something like that. And again, like I said, there are a lot of people out there that do awesome jobs. And if you have another way that you think works better than what I'm talking about, leave it down here. I mean, we're all friends here. We're all learning from each other. Don't be ashamed or scared or afraid you're going to hurt my feelings. I mean, we're all here to learn. So if if you have a preferred way that you like, leave a comment down, and let us know. So, John, without more information about your vehicle, I mean, I don't know if it's a restoration you're doing, an old car, or if it's just one you're thinking, do I need to take this down to metal or not? Without more information, I really don't know how to better answer that question. So, if I didn't answer the question well enough, be sure and just leave me a comment. Let me know, and I'll try to better answer that. As always, I really appreciate you watching these videos. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you in the next video.